Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The event is about to begin. In another 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The event will begin in 5 minutes.
warm hand. Thank you so much to the Aztec dancers, Yancuito. Their name means fire in the Aztec language. We thank them so much for being here tonight and to kick us off as we begin this very meaningful evening. Good evening, I'm Laura Diaz, and I'm your Mistress of Ceremonies for the 29th Annual Noche de las Memorias on this World AIDS Day. And think about what that means, an international movement happening today on December 1st all around the world, people gathering together to raise awareness about the AIDS pandemic. So this is a powerful moment. As I look out on the beautiful grounds, we have the lovely, lovely music. We have the wonderful luminarias. Everything is so gorgeous here today, but please, let's remember why we're here and why it matters. Now, this is my 19th appearance at Noche de las Memorias. It's always such a breathtaking event for Los Angeles and for the world, and it feels great to be back together again, doesn't it? And with the help of technology, our program is being live streamed across the world on Plus Life. I want to acknowledge some of the people who are here tonight. We're grateful that you're all here, of course, but we'd like to give a little shout out to some of the dignitaries. Troy Carbajal, representing Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo. Ariel Cuadron, representing Supervisor Hilda Solis. Dr. Jerry Abraham, from the California Medical Association. Joe Hollandoner, LA LGBT Center. And Gustavo Friedrichsen, LA County Medical Association. Now, to open tonight's evening, I'm happy to call up here Joselito Ladencia, who is a doctor of religious studies and a spiritual teacher, to lead us in the opening prayer. He also happens to be Richard's fiance. I don't know, Richard. You might have led with that. Could be trouble at home tonight. Just kidding. Joselito, please come up to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. As we gather on this coldest of nights, we remember that we can always turn to the warmth of the candles and the luminarias that guided us and welcomed us into this sacred space, the warmth of the memories of all of the people we have lost to AIDS, the warmth of community as we sit here gathered in this heated tent, and as we stay connected with all those who are watching online, and the warmth of all of those people all over the world on this World AIDS Day, who in their own spaces, in their own hearts, gathered to remember their loved ones. Tonight is the most sacred of evenings because it is grounded in the highest expression of love. And so in that sacredness, I bless each and every person here, each and every volunteer, staff person, dancer, musician, singer, presenter, everyone who helped to create this sacred space this evening. And so I know then that this evening unfolds most perfectly as we remember, as we love, as we cry, as we laugh, as we commune together on this World AIDS Day. With that, we allow this evening to unfold most magically and most divinely. And with that, we simply say, Amen.
So beautiful, Joselito. I also wanted to acknowledge that Manuel Sanchez, our flautist for tonight, we've been so lucky to have him here since the very beginning. Let's give him a warm hand, please. Now I'd like to introduce you to the board chair for the organization, Teresa Martinez. Please step up, Teresa.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Joselito, for that beautiful prayer. Laura, you have been such a strong supporter and a friend to Wall Las Memorias for so many years, and we thank you once again. On behalf of the organization, I would like to welcome you as a board chair to the 29th annual Noche de las Memorias. We have truly been blessed tonight with this weather. The rain's not here yet. It's not supposed to come until midnight when we're all home in bed. So I thank the Lord for that, that's for sure. So tonight, we are blessed to have our partners and our sponsors who have helped us host this amazing event. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to host such a beautiful event. So thank you to T-Mobile, Charles Dunn, Gilead, Molina Healthcare, Shepherd Mullen, Charter Communications, Dignity, Pharma, Providence, Verizon, Warner Brothers, Western Dental, and UCLA Health. It's actually Warner Brothers Discovery. So let's give them another round of applause and enjoy the program.
All the women in their heels. I think I'm just going to stand up here. It's easier. What kind of a Latina would I be without my heels? I mean, come on. Thank you, Teresa. Very much appreciated your kind words, and so great to have you up here. Just like so many of you, I was here for a few important dates, like the dedication of the monument on December 1st, 2004. We had over 1,500 people in attendance. It was a great night. And just last year, we gathered for the rededication of the monument. At almost every Noche de las Memorias, there seems to be one common thread. Do you know what it is? It's always really cold. But I like it. There's more room to hug, right? Well, this organization is known for the amazing and beautiful monument. It's also known for the incredible work that organization members do in the community. To provide an overview of that work, please welcome to the stage some of the members of the staff. They will share with you their transformative work. Let's welcome up to the stage right now, Elba Aguilar, Stevie Barron, I hope I got this right, Gilmar Pendomo? Oh, all right. Nailed it. Okay, please come up.
I also have my heels on. All right, hi everybody, my name is Gilmar. I am the HIV Prevention Programs Manager at the Wall Las Memorias project. I oversee the HIV testing and education programs that help improve the health and well-being of thousands of people in our community. Like many other organizations across the city and across the county and the country, COVID-19 has impacted our ability to, sorry, am I talking about, sorry, has impacted our ability to provide HIV tests in the volume that we really want to. And then in addition to this, monkeypox this year was really, emotionally and physically a huge impact to our community. However, through creative initiatives like free at-home testing, HIV test delivery services, training community members on becoming HIV test recruiters and distributing test kits on at social events. Our testing programs, led by Bernardo Gomez and Luis Herrera, they tested over 1,200 people this year, which were linked to prevention services like PrEP, and 12 of those people were identified as HIV positive and linked to services. Yeah, that's amazing. Our Yaz and Speak Out and React Now LA programs, led by Eddie Banuelos and Julian Loza, seek to empower young men to advocate for themselves and their communities. This year, over 100 men completed these workshops and are out in the world making healthy decisions for themselves and their community. Through the successful actions of the Act Now Against Meth Coalition earlier this year, we were able to develop the React Now to Meth program, led by Jose Magaña, which provides education and prevention support for communities most impacted by meth use. Last but not least, our vital in-person and virtual support groups provide individuals a safe space to build community and a sense of familia, which many in our community currently lack. Jesus Leija leads Conecta Dos. This is a Spanish men's group. Eddie Banuelos leads Men's Talk, a English support group. Jose Magaña leads Pause Men, the support group for men living with HIV. And Sarah Cruz leads She, Her, Hers, the support group for beautiful trans women. I'm not saying that the men aren't beautiful, but you know what I mean. If that sounds like a lot, it's because it is. But we have very passionate organizers who do the work with a lot of compassion and a lot of love for our community. If you meet them tonight, if you meet me later on, just thank us for the work that we do, because we do it with such love and compassion, and we're very happy to do it. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stevie Barron, and I am a community organizer with the Wall Las Memorias. I've had the pleasure of working with the youth in our program, Rise Up and Act Youth for Change. It engages transitional age youth 12 to 26 in community mobilization, organizing activities to advocate for healthier public policies and substance abuse prevention, mental health awareness, COVID-19 education, as well as empowering them and in bolstering their leadership in the agency and the world. With this program beginning, with our program beginning amidst the pandemic, our youth gathered for virtual meetings on a weekly basis. It became more than just substance abuse prevention. It became about connecting with them in a time unlike any other. Our youth participants created 3 separate virtual summits with regards on harm reduction, mental health awareness, and how to stay safe from COVID-19 during the holidays. A total of 150 attendees, community members, joined us virtually. Our first in-person health fair took place here at Plaza de la Raza, where we had 150 registrants, 83 attendees. We collaborated with 14 different community partners. We had 12 different trainings and workshops around mental health and substance use prevention. Our final conference took place a week before Halloween, a community trunk or treat, connecting community partners and local small businesses to bring families together, connecting them with local resources and information about how they could get involved with our programs. Our trunk or treat brought in over 300 attendees from the Boyle Heights area. I want to thank the dedicated members of Rise Up and Act, as well as the guidance from our staff and fellow mentors in bringing more awareness, education, and proactive solutions to our community here in Boyle Heights. With our next attempts to bring in awareness to the youth and the local community, we have put together a sticker shock campaign. It's called Are You Aware? As of today, we have placed over 500 stickers on boxes, bottles, and alcohol beverages around local liquor stores in Boyle Heights to bring awareness to underage drinking. We hope that you will share in our efforts to bring awareness to the education to our youth. Thank you all so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angie Jimenez. Unfortunately, Elva Aguilar could not be here tonight. She is a little sick, but I am part of the COVID team, and I came on board over a year and a half ago. Where's Richard? Richard. So I got a call from Richard, and he asked if I could come in and help actually transition from the Highland Park office into this new space in Boyle Heights. When I realized that we were right in the heart of Boyle Heights, I told him that we needed to build the relationships with our community in that space. Right across the street from Hollenbeck Youth Center, Allenby's, if you're familiar with Boyle Heights, down the street from Hollenbeck PD station, and from one of our elected officials' office. I was asked to come on board, but I jumped into this team of 3 people who were running this COVID program. And it was Elba, Nico, and Jose, who is no longer part of the organization, but he was very instrumental in starting what I feel was one of the most amazing online services, creating these town halls around this virus, this pandemic, that people were just day by day, week by week learning about. And we were trying to educate a community as we were educating ourselves with the county services and the information the county was providing. Now, since the beginning of the pandemic, over 11 million cases have been reported in California. And that's at least 101 out of 396 residents passed away with COVID just from the beginning of the pandemic. I don't want to talk too much about numbers and statistics, but I think it's important because what we started doing at the Wall Las Memorias, we worked on 2 separate programs. It was educating the community, and through our federal grant, we were able to vaccinate over 2,000 people just in partnership that we had with Reach LA. And I'd like to believe that if we didn't get to save, of course, all those people, and unfortunately all the people that had left us from this horrible virus, that we have been able and instrumental in helping to stop the spread, helping to educate the community, and help by vaccinating our residents, by vaccinating the Latino community, by vaccinating the Black community. And once we came back to the Boyle Heights story, once we started creating that community in Boyle Heights, I realized that all the programs and all of our directors there, while they were running programs, the youth programs, the men's groups, everyone had one common issue that we could all talk about and relate to, and this is, unfortunately, COVID. And much like HIV and AIDS, this is a virus that we saw does not discriminate, and while we have been fortunate enough to have something that could prevent the spread, we have lost one too many lives. Now, one of the first events that we actually hosted here a year ago was our Posada vaccination event. It was a beautiful event, held 2 days after our rededication of the wall last year. And again, it was just the beginning of us trying to figure out how to insert these programs into the Wall Las Memorias and the programs that they were already running. And for me, it's been an honor to be able to participate, but it's been more an honor to be able to work with the community and the team that has been able to share their stories. And often the stories that they were able to share with the residents were those stories that helped push people make the decision in getting vaccinated. Again, Elva was one of the first members to start working on this vaccine piece. I came on board. I helped manage the program. I had to step down because I had to go away and take care of some stuff, but I'm back. And again, we're happy to continue doing this work. The Wall Las Memorias has been very special to me for many years, and I was very honored to have Richard reach out and ask me to come and see and oversee this very important piece with the team. Thank you, and thank you, Laura.
Okay. Let's give a warm hand to the entire team. We appreciate your work so much. Over the years, we've been so fortunate to share with you some great voices from film and from the stage. Well, tonight, we're so happy to introduce you to a young man who was discovered on Fox's I Can See Your Voice. He sang the national anthem for the Lakers and the LA Angels. He'll be singing the first of two songs, Lucky Us. Let's welcome to the stage right now, Mario Bryant. Warm hand.
And I am telling you, I'm not going. You're the best thing I ever known. There's nowhere I ever been gone. No, 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 no way. No, 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 no way. I'm living without you. I'm not living without you. I don't want to be free. I'm staying, oh, I'm staying. And you're gonna love me. Oh, you're gonna love me, yeah. And I am telling you, I'm not going. Even though the rough times are showing, there's no way, there's just no way. We're part of the same place. We're part of the same time. We're part of the same blood. Tear down the mountains, yell, scream and shout. You can say what you want, I'm not walking out. Stop all the rivers, push, strike, and kill. I'm not gonna leave you, there's no way I will. And I am telling you, I'm not going. I'm not living without you. I don't wanna be free. I'm staying, oh, I'm staying. And you're gonna love me. Oh, 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 oh. You're gonna love me, love me, love me. Yeah! Woo! Thank you.
Let's put it together again. Mario Bryant, remember that name. Well, eradicating HIV is not an easy task, as you know. It's about more than condom use or biomedical prevention treatment. It's about addressing issues that truly affect our community members. We've seen an alarming increase in hate and violence across our nation. For the members of the LGBTQ communities, life can be much harder with many different challenges in 2022. Tonight, we've invited our good friend, Mario Perez, Director of the Office of HIV and STDs for the LA County Department of Health Services, who will host a conversation about some of the challenges that face our community members. He'll be joined by Mariana Marroquin, Director of the Trans Center, and Jorge Diaz of Equality California. Let's welcome our panel right now.
Thank you for that warm introduction, Laura. Buenas noches. Good evening. It is my pleasure to join all of you tonight, and it is my honor to join my esteemed colleagues, Mariana Marroquin and Jorge Diaz, on this stage. Mariana Marroquin serves as the Trans Wellness Center Program Manager at the LA LGBT Center. She has been working for more than 2 decades, providing services and advocating for underserved communities in LA. For 7 years, she provided legal services, helping asylum seekers get connected to lawyers and other services the same way she was helped when she immigrated from Guatemala. Más de 100 personas tienen documentos y una mejor vida gracias al trabajo en equipo de cual pertenece. Jorge Diaz currently serves as a program manager of HIV programming at Equality California. He has been in service to the Latino Latinx community for over 15 years by providing direct client services in mental health and substance use. Jorge is a writer for Adelante magazine, where he uses this platform to address issues impacting the LA Latinx LGBT community. Please give them a warm welcome. On behalf of the County of Los Angeles, its Department of Public Health, and its Division of HIV and STD Programs, I would like to publicly thank the Wall Las Memorias for their tireless commitment to bring our village together, para convivir, para escuchar, para recordar, y para apoyar, for the 29th year in a row. Un aplauso, por favor. Several years ago, here in LA, we set out to establish a new set of HIV-related milestones, some year to year, others to be reached by 2025. But all of them with an eye towards achieving very bold, ending the HIV epidemic goals by the year 2030. At that time, our renewed commitment to end HIV was coupled with an impressive infusion of federal resources, new thought leaders that formed a new steering committee, novel and disruptive program innovation, the enlistment of dozens of new community-based healthcare providers to help expand HIV testing opportunities and access to biomedical HIV prevention tools, and a reinvigorated community engagement and community mobilization effort. The promise and optimism of even more deliberate and impactful progress against HIV was upon us. And then, like a perfect storm, new threats like COVID-19 emerged. Long-standing challenges like homelessness, meth use disorder, and syphilis worsened. And scourges like homophobia, transphobia, and anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and violence seemingly proliferated, despite progressive LGBTQ policy gains. We stand here tonight on World AIDS Day, collectively, unidos, to not only remember those that we have lost, but to reflect on what we must do differently, more effectively, and at a larger scale to end HIV. De una vez y para todos, once and for all. To guide and inform our thinking, let's now hear from our two prominent and committed community leaders, Mariana and Jorge. Mariana, as we embrace the theme of World AIDS Day 2022, putting ourselves to the test, achieving equity to end HIV, please share with us the challenges that contribute to the significant and disproportionate impact of HIV on the transgender community.
First, I want to say thank you for the invitation. I'm really, really honored to be here. Talking about putting ourselves at test, you know, not many transgender women get the opportunity that I have. to manage a program specifically for our own community. I would like to go back, and I'm going to share a story with all of you. In 1997, a good friend of mine in Guatemala, a transgender woman, she tried to take her life. She cut her veins, and after doing a great show, she was a great performer. And I remember everybody run to the hospital, and we were there with her, supporting her. And at some point, we ended up being by ourselves, and she told me that she didn't want to live, that she wanted to die, that she didn't want it to be rescued. I was very young, and she was someone that I was looking up to. And when she told me that, I asked her why. And then she told me I was diagnosed with HIV. And I think my country, the conditions over there, she couldn't take it. She said, like, I don't see a future. I remember at that moment thinking about the blood, thinking about what happened, thinking about the way we wanted to support her. I was in shock. I didn't know what to say. I was very afraid. And this day always made me think about her because I didn't know what to say. We are in 2022. And although I am in charge of a program that is creating a big impact and changing the life of so many out there, I always go back, and no matter what we do and what we create, the most important thing that I could say in that moment to my friend, it was that I love her and that I was there for her. And I think, like, for a lot of community members, every day that I see my community coming to the center, that is something that they want to hear. A lot of them, they don't have the family support. My friend didn't have the family support. My friend was dealing with substance abuse. Right now, I can do a need assessment. As a provider, I will be like, this is what I will answer to her. But the most important thing was that. And I want all you to think about that the most important thing is to tell everyone that is going through something, that they matter, and that we're going to be there for them. I think that's basic, and we don't have to go to a school or anything to say that to them, because I think that's going to change their lives. She also told me that she imagined me coming to this country, becoming someone, being able to transition and being able to be myself. I thought, like, she was imagining a future that I can't even imagine for myself. But that's what I do. I live every day because she wanted me to live every day. I immigrated here in 1998. She died the same year. I'm still here. I'm still telling people that they matter and that I love them. Coming from COVID, coming from these moments that are challenging and horrible things, discrimination, harassment, lack of opportunities, something that I always take care is my heart, because I am still able to receive love and to give love back. And I think we all have the capacity to do that. So put yourself a test every day and ask yourself how much you can give for free and that impact that you create in people's lives. So I think that is very basic. We can go over hours, but it's very basic, but it's impactful. And I think it's important.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you for sharing that story. Jorge, as we know, since the beginning of the HIV epidemic, gay and bi men have shouldered the brunt of this crisis. And Latinx and African American men have been especially impacted. Please share with us the complex and layered social and economic factors that continue to drive this epidemic, particularly among young gay and bisexual men.
Thank you, Mario. It's a pleasure and honor to be here and to be on this stage with Mario and Mariana. Richard, thank you for having me, inviting me to be a speaker tonight. Like Mariana, I'm also going to share a story. This year, World AIDS Day is very special to me because I come here to honor a friend that we lost 6 months ago. And I remember having a conversation with Richard, and I said, Carlos's name should be on that monument. And we talked about it and we thought about it. And for a split second, I questioned, does he deserve to be up there? Does his name deserve to be up there? Because he didn't die of HIV and AIDS. But I think that's the interesting thing about this fight over the last 40 years, is that people like Richard and so many of you who've done this work for 30 plus years, that fight was different. And you were burying your friends and your loved ones every single day, every other day, due to some HIV complication. Carlos didn't die of HIV and AIDS, but he died of a symptom and an element of HIV and AIDS. So to answer your question, Mario, I think about Carlos, and I think about the fight that we have today that's very different than 40 years ago. We are not losing our friends to opportunistic infections. We are losing our friends to crystal meth use. We're losing our friends to overdose. We're losing our friends to suicide. We're losing our friends to chemsex. So I think about Carlos, and I think about days before he passed. And I think about how he utilized substances to heal all of those childhood traumas that so many of us gay and Latino men come with. One would say that Carlos came to the United States, and Mariana really triggered that for me. Because Carlos would say, I came to the United States with nothing. It took him 10 years to realize that he came to the United States with a lot of trauma. Because the reason why we end up with HIV isn't because we're promiscuous men. It isn't because we're having unprotected sex. It's because we grew up in an environment and a culture that tells us from the minute we're 3 and 4, 5-year-old little boys that we don't matter, that we are an embarrassment to the family. We grew up in a culture that expects us to be a certain type of masculine Latino man. So then we grow up to be 18, 20, 25 years old, and we're supposed to be emotionally intelligent. Carlos died of HIV and AIDS, but he died of the current fight and the current issues that we see today. Crystal meth and mental health is a serious problem. If you come from a family that makes you feel like you don't matter, and you grew up without a father, but somehow you're supposed to become this amazing man, do you know how hard it is to be an amazing man? And just think about how more difficult it is to be an amazing gay man. And so I thank you for putting this name on the monument.
Thank you, Jorge. Mariana, sabemos que la esperanza nunca muere. Hope never dies. As we commit ourselves to doing even more to improve the health and mitigate the impact of HIV on the trans community, what are 2 things you would like to see accomplished in 2023 from a social, program, or policy perspective?
The first thing that came to my mind is making sure that every trans person, every non-binary person knows that they belong. And let's talk about La Familia, the chosen family or the biological family. I believe in prevention. My family always has been there with me, even when they didn't even know the word transgender. And that made me feel in a different way regarding my decisions and everything I do in my life. If we have anyone in our families or any friends in our chosen families that feels different, that sound different, that behaves different, I think we need to reaffirm who they are. And again, go back to the love and go back to say that they matter. because many decisions that they're gonna make are based on that. You know, who cares? I always think about like, let's connect people, trans people to care, you know, how challenging that is. But it's challenging because they feel like nobody cares about their health. Like the only person that cares is that guy in the corner waiting for them to pay them, give them money, you know? That's the only person that cares, and that goes away. So I believe that that is one of the important things. Another thing that I want to say is about investing in the community. This is investing in the community. Probably I didn't have the full skills to be a program manager, but I'm doing this work with my heart every day. So we need to hire people from the community to connect with other people. That's the only way that we can create change. Invest in the community and actually be intentional. Because I just saw someone over here talking and saying, Richard, thank you for calling me to do the job. You knew that she was good to do the job. There's so many women like me that I know that they're amazing to do the work, to do the job. Why don't we hire them? We need to make that change. We need to make that investment, and I think that's something that we need to do. We're doing it. I'm right here. I've been managing the Trans Wellness Center for 5 years almost, and it's been challenging, but it's the most important thing in my life, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And definitely, I will not quit anytime yet, because I'm not gonna rest until more women like me and trans men get the chance that I had.
Thank you, Mariana. Give free love and hire trans staff. Jorge, for more than a decade, you fought against a handful of social ills that challenge our HIV progress, including stigma and many phobias. Please share with us the single most important thing we can do as a community to embrace and empower the LGBTQ community at this time, and as we challenge ourselves to take a bigger leap towards equity.
I wish I had like this amazing answer, right, to that question. I think it's very simple. It is love. But it isn't love at the county level. It isn't love that you have to come get at a community center. It really is love from the Latino culture since we are 3, 4, 5 years old. We learn stigma. We are inheriting all of these negative cultural norms and expectations of what defines LGBTQ people, right? We really need to address what is happening in our homes and in our families. We do need to invest in our community to show them that LGBTQ people are people. We do not need to have 6 people murdered in Colorado for simply because of who they are. We don't need to have 12 more people tested, identified as positive in 2023 by Wall Las Memorias. And let's not even talk about the trans murders, right? Who are murdering these women? We get lost in the media sometimes and they portray this very, scary person, scary man, but that's someone's son. And what message and teaching did that son receive to think that it was okay to take the life of a trans woman? Why is it okay to go to a football game, a soccer game, and hear that derogatory word? Why do we accept that as a community? Why do we tolerate that? Why do we need to ask the county for millions of dollars to create programming when the responsibility should begin in the home? We need to teach our families that having an LGBTQ son or daughter is the most amazing thing that you can ever have, right? As Mariana said, she said, you don't have to go to school. My mom always says to me, the hardest job is being a parent. And I understand that. When my mother threw me out at 14 years old for being gay, it made me think, how hard it must be to be a parent, right? But the single most thing that we can do is love and embrace our LGBTQ family members, right? There should be no child that has to be put out to the street. And I brought up Carlos, and I want to wrap my answer with Carlos's. I think Carlos had the many similar experiences that we have as gay men. We've all been there, right? We've all been lonely. And then we get to be 25, 35, 40-year-old gay men, and we sit and reflect on all the trauma and all the pain that we've been through. And people tell that we're champions, and they say we have such resiliency. There is no need for resiliency if you just love and accept your child. And I think about Carlos, and I think about all of the traumas that he had. And those traumas were inflicted by a society, by cultura, by religion, by family. It wasn't something that he picked up here in LA. And so I think, to answer your question, we really need to invest in Latino culture to change the culture that we bring from other countries here and we continue to feed on, right? This whole idea of machismo. How does machismo exist after so many years? How can we not just eliminate machismo? And for us gay men, and I'll wrap up with that, we have a battle to end that toxic gay masculinity issue in our culture, right? And begin to embrace who we are as gay men, feminine men, masculine men, so that we don't end up with stories like Carlos, drug use, mental health, a beautiful individual that lost his life because he couldn't heal those traumas.
Thanks, Jorge. We're going to turn the tables for a moment. I would now like to invite both Mariana and Jorge as we huddle in solidarity as a community on this cold night in Lincoln Park to ask all of you a question, not to be immediately answered, but for internal thought. Mariana, your question for the audience, please.
Do you want to go first, Jorge?
My question is simple. I told you why I'm here. I would like for you just to, think about why you're here. And I want to ask all the LGBTQ people just to have a moment and close your eyes and ask yourself, if you would have grown up in a space with no hate, no homophobia, no transphobia, if you were to grow up in a world where you were just accepted for who you are, can you imagine what extraordinary people we would be? And for those of you who don't identify as LGBTQ or not have lived experience with HIV, is ask yourself, why are you here and what do you go from here? HIV should be all of our problem until we end HIV for Black and brown communities.
Thank you, Jorge.
I would like you to ask you, what would you tell a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old kid that just wants to dance and wants to jump with the girls when they're supposed to be doing that with the boys, or playing with Barbies, or doing something different, and then someone next to you is telling you you should do something about it, you need to fix that kid? How would you respond to that? Because there's nothing to fix. Nothing.
It is an understatement to say that we are living in a trying and taxing time, as we've all been impacted somehow by one or more public health issues, whether it's COVID, the flu, monkeypox, violence, substance use, mental illness, or hate. And with all of these, we see inequities persist and even worsen. Tonight, tomorrow, next week, and next year, as we put ourselves to the test to achieve equity to end HIV, we ask that you remember those we've lost, but that you also take time to recharge. We ask that you reflect on the message and questions from Mariana and Jorge and respond in your own unique way. and we ask that you recommit to helping us ensure that as many people as possible, regardless of age, gender identity, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, race, citizenship status, or HIV status, have the same opportunity to live the healthiest lives possible. On behalf of Mariana and Jorge, gracias por su atención y buenas noches.
Let's give everybody a warm hand again. It's great to be here in community, but it's also wonderful to be part of the educational process. So I'm so glad that we added that panel discussion this year. It's now my esteemed honor to introduce our fearless leader. Richard Saldivar has spent the past 29 years as a leader in the community and a visionary. He has overseen the construction of this beautiful AIDS monument and has created prevention programs that have been so invaluable in the community. He's often asked to speak as a keynote speaker and as a presenter on panels. He is my friend, he is mi gente, and he is your friend as well, and he is your advocate. Let's give a warm hand to Richard Saldivar.
Thank you so much, Laura. Let's give Laura a round of applause. So good evening and welcome again to the 29th annual Noche de las Memorias. Thank you again to our sponsors who are supporting us again this year and making this night possible. I want to thank Plus Life for carrying tonight's event on their YouTube channel and for streaming it live on Facebook, our Facebook page. Thank you to our production team under the leadership of Gabriel Redondo, and to our good friend who covers the photography and videography tonight, Emilio Flores. So give them a round of applause. Gabriel, thank you. Emilio. Our organization was founded 29 years ago on the evening of December 1st, 1993. We met over here at the park and dreamed of building a monument. We did that actually twice. We built it then in 2004 and we rededicated it last year. We advance not only the health prevention issues and advocacy, but we create events that speak to our community to engage them in our own language, in our own culture. So thank you to our board of directors and our amazing staff. I hear often so many of them look up to me. Well, I gotta tell you, I look up to you. You've done an incredible job once again. Thank you, staff. You know, tonight was a little crazy because we're missing somebody. The coordinator of tonight's event worked so hard to bring all the different elements together. I sat down with her and gave her my vision for tonight's program, and she brought it together so well. She could not be with us here tonight because she became ill. So she is watching this on one of either the YouTube channel or Facebook Live. So will you please give a round of applause to Christine Garcia. And I'll tell you one thing, her heart, her passion was so connected to this event. So God bless you, Christine, and you will be back very soon. In reflecting this past 29 years on the history of our organization, we have done great work for the community in the area of health prevention. We have provided innovative services in substance use prevention, mental health prevention to the LGBTQ+ youth, COVID-19 prevention, and HIV prevention and testing. I'm happy to say, starting in January January, we'll be providing prep services, direct services to our community, so we don't have to be referring people to other agencies to get connected and get on prep. This past year, thanks to 22 organizations, we were able to create the Act Now Against Meth Coalition. That coalition met for the last 2 years during the pandemic to come up with ways to address methamphetamine. And those 22 organizations and a handful of folks met for over 50 hours this last year to come up with recommendations where we presented it to the County of Los Angeles. The Act Now Against Meth presented the county platform on how to address meth in the area of prevention, treatment, and policy. Those 32 recommendations were presented to our supervisor, Hilda Solis. She in turn went ahead with the Board of Supervisors and adopted a measure asking the county to report back within 190 days as to how each department is handling crystal methamphetamine. I'm glad to say that that Act Now Against Meth Coalition model has been adopted as a promising practice by the U.S. Academy of Medicine, and I'm very proud of that. Our innovative work in 1995 in prevention included the Latino Men's Group. At the height of that work, we were providing weekly meetings to 95 men on a weekly basis. We continue to host men's and trans meetings. So many others have continued to do the same work in this field, many times using unsung heroes to keeping men alive and well. So at this time, I'm going to ask anybody who works in HIV prevention, the workforce of LA County, if you're here, please stand for a round of applause. They are the backbone of keeping people alive and well. And so thank you so much to that workforce. Within the next few months, we'll be adding several new board members. We'll conduct a strategic plan taking us to how we're going to look into the next 3 to 5 years as an organization. I can tell you now that we will be looking at substance use prevention and treatment as well as mental health prevention and treatment, but also looking at ways that we're going to be able to help not only the individual, but their partners and their family members on this side of town. My friends, it sounds like a lot. And a lot it is. That is why we need your help. We need your continued support. We need your continued faith, but we also need your continued fight to fight what is right for our community and justice for all of us. Tonight we're presenting several recognitions. They are individuals and organizations. Each one represents a bold vision. The first is a woman who is not with us here tonight. A woman who graced us with knowledge, guidance, and mentorship. Beatriz Solis, in our earlier days, she understood our work. In fact, she would meet with me on a constant basis to say, you know, you're doing something incredible. You need to promote yourself, which I don't do well. But she was always there to guide me, and she guided so many other people. She promoted us because she believed our work to be groundbreaking. She did so much for that and other organizations too. As a senior program executive with the California Endowment, she was a force to be reckoned with, a voice for women, a force in academia and community. So tonight it's a great honor to present this award posthumously to Mohammed and his sons, Aide and Avi. If I'm mispronouncing it, then you can kick me in my butt. But I want to call you and ask you to present this small award token of our appreciation. You know, Los Angeles community greatly has mourned the loss of Beatriz. And both of her sons, I remember when they were so small, going to soccer games and Dodger games. And I love always watching the beautiful smile on her face when she saw her kids on that field. And so the plaque is a small plaque, but it's an important plaque that reads in appreciation of her support as a teacher, a mentor, a community leader, a friend who came into the world to bring brightness and power wherever she walked. On behalf of the Wall Las Memorias, I present it to both of you.
Thank you, Richard. I want to start with in memory of all the lost ones and all the dear ones. I recall the original dedication of the wall over here, and I recall how excited she was. She viewed your organization very much aligned with her strategic vision of what she had and she envisioned for building healthy communities. The health, education, and prevention aspect, the advocacy for underserved communities, as well as the opportunity of building the next generation of community leaders. These elements were all aligned with the vision that she had and she eventually implemented with the building healthy community. I want to congratulate you for the wonderful work that you've done and your organization have done, and wish you the best of luck. And thank you for this.
Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. The next presentation is to Carl Schmidt. You know, I want to say that, you know, in 29 years of hosting the Noche de las Memorias, we started over there 29 years ago, the day that we were founded. And it was a group of 19 people that came together, and I shared this idea, and people started holding hands, and we prayed and we cried. And we've done it for 29 years straight. We've never been rained out, although one year it rained, and we had to move our event to Plaza de la Raza. It was kind of a strange event. And then a few years ago, when we were under construction for the monument, we wanted to hold Noche because we wanted to be consistent. And the city said, you can't enter the property because of COVID. And so a lot of our community was asking for the event. And so we were, you know, God always provides even when you think that you're alone in the world. And so we were able to have Plus Life Media come in and actually share a live feed as we broke down the fences, and 9 of us stood outside in the cold, and we streamed the entire Noche de las Memorias. We actually had recorded some musical numbers and some prayers. And so they've been a supporter. They've been here for us. They've been there for so many other organizations to address the pause community across this nation. So I like to call Carl Schmidt up, who's the founder of the Plus Life Media, and became a close friend of ours during the pandemic. But most of you will know Carl from his work on KABC 7, where he has been a correspondent and a producer since 2013. Whether it be on the red carpet, Rams primetime Saturday night, or to being the face of ABC's SoCal Spotlight segments and contributing to eyewitness news stories and coverage of LA Pride. Carl's passion to entertain and inform makes him a proud member of the KABC 7 family. A passionate activist in the fight against HIV stigma, Carl Schmidt has launched Plus Life Media in 2019, soon to be part of Localish TV, the online channel's mission to help foster a new conversation around what it means for people living with HIV and to tackle the stigma still associated with the virus. I got a chance to talk to him tonight. A lot of great conversation about the pandemic, about the politics of the pandemic. And I want to tell you, as a founder to another founder, that sometimes when we lead organizations, it could become very lonely, and we ask ourselves, why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, that it's for the greater community, and that's what brings you so much happiness. So come up, Carl. And I have to tell you have an amazing team. And it says, in recognition of your contribution to bringing truth and solace to our community about health, HIV, and human rights, by empowering communities to take action to end the epidemic on behalf of the Wall Las Memorias.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you all for being here. And for those of you who have taken to the stage, Mariana and Jorge, your words really struck with me as today we talk about World AIDS Day, and I look out at the beautiful lanterns, and I had the opportunity to walk with Richard through the memorial and look at those names that are up on those walls and how beautiful that is and how heartbreaking that there are so many names that are not, and that there will be so many names in the future that won't be, so many names that won't be remembered, will be forgotten. We have the tools right now. We don't need a vaccine to end HIV. We don't. We have the tools. We have PrEP, we've got antiretrovirals, love, and compassion. And you see, if we put all those things together, if people get tested and they get on treatment, if people take PrEP, and if people are compassionate and loving to one another, we can stop this thing. Stop it right now. So to be presented with this on this evening and the amazing team that is Plus Life, who you don't see, who are all huddled under that tent and standing over there, Brent Zaki, Mike Spira, Marcos, Victor is somewhere here as well, Ken. These guys are what make Plus Life tick. I'm just the one with the funny accent who occasionally says stupid things that they have to apologize for. But this means a lot, and it means a lot to be a part of tonight and this community. And I just want to leave you with, like Jorge and Mariana said, love and be compassionate and be there for people, listen to people. That is how we end this. Because once we start doing that and we get rid of the stigma, the walls come down, the criminalization laws go out the window, and we can stop this right now. So thank you very much.
Isn't that awesome? Give him another round of applause. And to his team, amazing team. Before we go to the next presentation, which is our last presentation, before we get to Memorias, which is very special, I want to also recognize some of the executive directors that are in the audience. I saw Al Ballesteros from JWCH. Al. Sandra Figueroa, executive director of El Centro de Pueblo. And Barbara's here from the East LA Women's East LA Women's Center. Barbara Campos. And if I'm kind of stuttering, it's because it's cold out here as it's warm in there. Just to be honest with you. Our last presentation is also another very special presentation. As I started building this project, the monument, I wanted to put down my thought in a writing, in a poem. And I was very grateful to have had a friend in Anna Contreras, who, when I felt that I couldn't do it, that it was difficult starting a nonprofit, the people questioned why I wanted to build a monument to AIDS, she was there to support me, to say, Theo, you got to beat those. And we spent many hours at a restaurant in South Pasadena to help develop the vision in words. And we came up with a poem, The Journey of Las Memorias. And through that entire process, she has been a very good friend. But she was also a great community member. She was a great mother, a grandmother. She worked at Social Security Administration. She always had the time to paint, to do stained glass, amazing stained glass work. And she always had the time to listen to me and guide me. And she believed in our organization because she knew as a Latino, as a Latina, that we had a different way of expressing ourselves and a different way of addressing the issues that we faced. And so, one of the last things she did was write a letter that was mailed to President Biden about how to address cancer, something that she passed away from. And so, it's only fitting, she was here last year for the rededication. As much as she was in pain, she was here with her family on a cold night. So this is only fitting that we present the family posthumously, another posthumous award to Ana Contreras. So I'm going to ask the family to come up and receive this award. Now I have to tell you, again, I remember when these folks were so high. So, you know, I think that sometimes we fly from the sky and we do the work that we're supposed to do on Earth. And there's a time when you're called back to the heavens, but you've accomplished your mission. That's more than a lot of people can say. And so it says in appreciation in co-creating the poem of the Wall Las Memorias AIDS Monument, and for helping bring truth and love to people of our community. I want to present it to the Contreras family.
Good evening. A few months before my mother passed, I asked her how she met Richard. She said she didn't remember. I know that I had asked her once before, but I couldn't remember as well what she said. So when Richard came for a visit, I asked him if he remembered how they met. He couldn't recall either. I love when that happens, just as much as I love when people remember the exact moment and every detail of their first meeting. To me, not remembering means that the love was already there, as it always was, just waiting for the two of them to catch up to the time when they got to be friends again. I came across a folder of notes and newspaper clippings my mom kept from her time working with Richard and the Wall. I came across, and in that folder, one of the items was her notes on a speech she gave during the 2003 Noche de las Memorias. In it, she talked about how 8 years before, in 1995, Richard asked her to help him find the words that would give expression to his vision. She wrote about how they spent countless hours, she remembered as coffee shops, throughout South Pasadena, talking about every facet of the impact AIDS has on our families and communities, and of the many factors that were allowing the disease to spread. Those discussions were also filled with hope and dreams of a time in our humanity. Mind you, she wrote humanity in bold and all caps, when we would all stand tall and proud and say no more. Together they found the words and worked them into a mission statement, a guiding light for what they would hoped the wall would come to represent. My mother believed that we were all capable of rising above fear that ultimately derives from ignorance, from just not knowing. Some of us can get to that change on our own, others need a catalyst. Either way, there's a choice involved. My mama was fearless in many ways, especially when it came to her love for her children, family, and creative self-expression. Yet, she was still human and had some fears, just like we all do. One of them being living in a world that didn't have Christmas Hallmark movies playing in July. Personally, I'm okay without that world, but I know that she loved them. And I agree with her that we should be excited about things that remind us of the power of love and hope and magic. I speak not only for my rather large and loving family, but also for the countless friends and acquaintances who know and love my mother. We are beyond blessed, proud, and grateful to know that her name, her words, one of her many expressions, are engraved on the pathway to a beautiful physical representation of the capacity of the human spirit. Her having been part of a legacy of love and acceptance is something to which we can all aspire. Richard, thank you in all the languages ever spoken and in all the ways a heart can love for honoring my beautiful mother tonight.
Let's give him another round of applause. As we prepare, thank you so much again. Your mom is always here with us. As we prepare for Las Memorias, I would like to call up staff members Jesus Leja, Bernie Gomez, Jose Magana, and Miguel Villegas, who will read off the names, the new names that are being added to the monument tonight. As they will read the names, they will be accompanied by Vivian Kukil, a student, an incredible student, a musician, from the Colburn School of Music, who will play the Ave Maria.
A. Gabriel Gator Arreola. Albert Mendoza. Alejandro Rosas Sevilla. Alfredo Cantero. Anthony Ramos. Bobby D. Ambieli. Carlos Catano Ríos. Carlos N. Ontiveros. Carmen Marie and Michael Brown. Damon McNair. Daniel Adams. Daniel Gallegos. Denise Mahoney. Dominic Lucero.
Eduardo Gracia.
Gavin Haraki. George Rico. H. John Schwab, Jr. Harold Mitchell. Ivan Barreto. Ivan Escobar. James Brian Canold. Jesus Bentoncourt. Jim Carey. Joe Johnson. John De Tomaso. John Robledo. Junior Valera.
Luis Enrique Escobar. Luis Rodríguez Elías. Manuel González. Mark Alan Luna. Martín Luna Rodríguez. Michael Ceballos and Jaime Shagun. Michael Davy Stevenson. Michael Friedman. Michael Morrell. Michael Robert Evans. Paul Thibault. Pedro D. Olivier.
Richard Medina. Ricky Vascott. Robert Bo Elledge. Robert Dominguez. Roger C. Alvarado. Rosalba Diaz. Tabang Mahanjana. Thomas Aragon Jr. Thomas H. Modesto. Victor Galicia Elizondo.
More songs, but before we get there, and before you all go home and crawl into a warm bed, this is a time of memorias. This is a time where if you have a loved one's name on the wall, now's the time, if you want to, share about who they are and what they meant to you. So anybody want to raise your hand so I can run with my mic? Wouldn't you know it's all the way in the back? And we're going to keep the chairs a few minutes so we can all get.
Had to be cold, right? Well, mi nombre es Pedro Vela Diaz. In 1993, I was 10 years old, and I lived in Boyle Heights. In 1993, both my parents succumbed to AIDS complications. They died about a month apart. Financially, my mom was given a proper burial, and my dad was sent to his native country in an unmarked grave. Years ago, I explored the possibility of finding somewhere to commemorate them, whether it was a park bench or a tree placard. And for some reason, I fell on Wall Las Memorias webpage. I forgot about it, and a few weeks ago, a friend that actually is connected to this organization reached out and invited me to an event. And it was all very serendipitous, and I got the opportunity to put both my parents' names on this wall. So tonight I'm here to honor Rosalba Diaz and Reynaldo Vela.
That is so awesome. I'm happy. Thank you. Anybody else?
Primero en español. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Leslie Lambarén, soy mamá de Academia Avance en Highland Park y trabajo para Legacy LA, soy miembro de las Mujeres Poderosas. Tengo 10 años tratando de poner a mi amigo Eduardo Gracia en la pared de Wall Las Memorias en el monumento y ese año fue la oportunidad y estoy aquí para honrarlo. Gracias, Richard, por esta oportunidad y a todos por estar aquí presentes. Thank you. Good night, everybody. My name is Leslie Lambarden. I'm a parent from Academia Avance in Highland Park. I work for Legacy LA, and I'm a member of Mujeres Poderosas. We empower youth, women, and we help after school program. So it's been like about 10 years that I've been trying to get my friend's name into the wall in the monument. So this is our year, and I'm here to honor my friend. Thank you.
My name is Irene Huerta, and I'm here to honor my uncle Albert Mendoza, who passed away at the young age of 40 of AIDS. And during that time when he passed away, it was a different world at that time. So thank you for honoring my uncle. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene.
My name is Edgar Castañeto, and I'm here to honor my very good friend and spiritual brother, I guess you could say, Ray Cruz Lucero. He would have been 50 years old. He died at 35 years old of complications. Lymphoma. I'm going to honor him on what would have been his 50th year of life. I'm just here to honor him.
Thank you. Do we have another microphone? Because I'm losing battery. Thank you. Who else? I'm not losing battery. The microphone's losing battery. I heard somebody chuckle. Squeeze in.
Hi. I feel fortunate that Emily submitted the name of my friend Michael Morrill, who taught at Roosevelt High School since way back in the 60s. And I was fortunate enough to be his colleague. He was a Connecticut Yankee, but he touched the lives of so many youth in Boyle Heights. And his students loved him. I witnessed that. And I particularly remember one young man who came dancing into my classroom from his and said, "Miss, I just found out there's these things called musicals." He was from El Salvador, had just come 2 years before to reunite with his mother. And After he graduated, he went on to study dance, and I saw him perform as a student at Cal State LA. So I'm here to honor Michael's legacy in the community, even though he was a Connecticut Yankee.
Thank you. Boy, you're both like.
I'm here to honor my brother, Mario Moncayo. He is on the wall thanks to one of my best friends in high school. He died in 1999 at the young age of 24. And tomorrow is his death anniversary, and it was really important for me to be here and to bring my kids, but they're asleep. It's cold. I have a living reminder of him every day because my son's name is named after him, Mario. And I just wanted him to know that his uncle was amazing. And yeah, that's it. Mario, we love you.
I'm here, and I believe my sister's here too. We're here to honor my cousin, whose name was on the wall in 2013, Elvira Bibi Cuevas. She was infected through a blood transfusion at a very young age, and she died at 19 years old. This year's a little bittersweet because my Nina, her mom, passed away, and after 19 years, mom and daughter are united again. So thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Here to honor my cousin. It's the his name's Richard Anthony Ruiz. We're from Highland Park, and it's the 10th anniversary of his death. And I just want to thank everyone for all the work that you do, and it's just so beautiful. And yeah, so I'm just so glad to be here and just contribute for years to come.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm here for my late partner, who was the first name tonight, Gabe Gator Areola. I know I have to say something because even though he passed away in '96, he can still kick my butt. So he was a proud AIDS warrior. He was a member of ACT UP. We were both members of ACT UP. We met in ACT UP, and we also worked at AIDS Service Center. And I gotta say that what Richard and everyone here has done, I only wish AIDS Service Center had been able to continue. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? You know, I just want to, before we end, there's a few people I just want to hear a few remarks from. One is the son of the late incredible actress Lupe Ontiveros. And her son is always here supporting her because she was such a great AIDS and HIV activist. We really don't have any Latino, never really had a Latino or Latina activist like Lupe on HIV/AIDS. So what are your thoughts? And after all these years, you keep on coming back. Why?
The first thing that comes to mind as these names are being read off, and
these families and friends were reflecting on those that have since passed. My mother lost a really close friend of hers. He was a makeup artist. He died during the first wave in the late 70s in New York City. He was a New Yorican from Spanish Harlem. His name was Paul Lopez. And he worked on a lot of the big shows, the big musicals on in Broadway. Zoot Suit, he worked on Ain't Misbehavin', and many others. And my mom, when she traveled with the cast for Zoot Suit, she was lucky enough to strike a friendship with him, solidarity, became very close to his family. And after the show wrapped and she came back to LA, he came down with the complications and died very shortly after that. And I just remember as a child witnessing the pain that she's that experienced when he passed, and many others would die after that. And to this day, I still reflect back on those days, how horrible it was and how bad it still is today. It still exists. It's much more manageable, but it brings me back every year because she was so supportive of this organization, and in her memory and as homage to her, I come here to represent the family and her legacy.
Thank you so much. And then one last comment I'm going to have, because I realize I didn't acknowledge him because he's another executive director of Leia, my brother Eddie Martinez. But Eddie, come over here real quick. Because, Eddie was here many years ago and really helped big time, was my right-hand person in building the monument. But I want to ask you, if you remember the time that we went to LA County USA Medical Center to visit Miguel Delgado.
Yeah, I mean, I was very young, and back at the time, when I first came out, I didn't come out to a wave. I didn't experience what the generation before me experienced, losing a lot of loved ones. I came out to a world where there was a lot of fear and uncertainty, and to come to the hospital, it was just an awakening for me. And it was an opportunity for me to realize that we need to be united in educating our gente, our community, about HIV and AIDS and the role we had in the Wall Las Memorias. And also, I saw you, Richard, who you are, the great heart you have for the community and for the folks to make a difference, and the passion you had. And to be here tonight, after all these years, is so amazing. And I just want to acknowledge you for all you have done for everyone.
I love you, my brother. Any last comments? There are many of you who lost someone that don't want to raise your hand. And it's okay. The comments, we come here after 10 years after someone has passed, or 5 years after we put someone's name on the monument. We saw our indigenous community come and bless the names of panels, the names of the panels there. It's amazing where spirits live, where spirits travel. But they know that you care. You're here. Some of you already have your candles lit. But people never leave us. They just stay with us. They just look different. And I remember, when people leave, they leave for a purpose. And so that's why it's really important that we as a community, that we as individuals, we really find out what our purpose on earth is. Because we each have a purpose. And one day we'll join those who have passed to the other side. But always know that whether it's me or my staff that work so tirelessly, that this place will always be for you and for your loved ones. And we all need to create change together. So we have one incredible number left, and then 2 musical number left before we adjourn for the evening. So we ask that make sure that you all have your candles lit. And it's an honor to bring up again this incredible voice to sing such a beautiful song at this point of the program. So let's welcome back. It's hard for you to welcome back with applause because you have one hand on your candle. But you can shout. Let's welcome back Mario Bryant.
Quanto sei lontana sogno l'orizzonte mancano le parole. Sì, lo so che non c'è luce una stanza quasi ma sta sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, su le finestre mostra tutto il mio cuore che ha acceso, chiudi dentro me la luce che hai incontrato per strada. Con te partirò su navi per mari che io le so. No, 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 esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò. Su navi per mari che io le so. No, 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 esistono più. It's time to say goodbye. Quanto sei lontana sogno l'orizzonte mancano le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, con me. Tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. Mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non mai avuto vissuto con te, adesso sono libero con te, partirò su navi per mari che io le so. No, 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 esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò su navi per mari che io le so. No, 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 esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò. Thank you.
So right now, before we end, I want to call all the staff up here, and board members. The shy ones come up too. All the staff come up. And I have a few shy board members. Chuck and Eileen and Teresa's here, and staff. Any more staff? Damn, do you remember, Eddie, when we had a small staff? We had 2 people started. Come on up. So this is, never thank me for my work. Thank them. Thank you. And on behalf of the board and the staff, we want to present a little token of our appreciation to this amazing woman. And she is in the process of doing a lot of different things. She's moving from one place to another, but she always finds a time to make time for us because she believes in the cause. And I want you to give it up to her because she's a powerful voice in Los Angeles and abroad. She's a powerful Latina. Laura Diaz.
Oh, you want me to say something? It's a privilege to be here year after year. I look out across the room and I think of you all as friends, but this is an amazing group. You're doing transformative work here. Keep it up. And to the people who took the mic tonight and spoke about their loved ones who passed, my heart breaks for you. It's hard to lose those we love, but what great work you're doing here. So when you go over, before you leave tonight, please go up to the wall and look at the names and feel the power of that love and dedication. And remember the battle that happened many years ago. It continues today. So thank you for being here tonight and welcome me back year after year. I love you all.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you again, staff, members of the board. This is an amazing team. I feel like we're at FIFA. But you know what? I love them and very much. And so before we end tonight, for those of you who want to hear a song about love, and then following that song, feel free to listen to additional music from mariachis. We're going to have pan dulce, we're going to have champurrado, and we're going to have pastries for everybody to warm up so that you can beat the rain and be warmed up. You can drive home and be under your covers for the 11 o'clock news. So with that, it's an honor to invite to perform Amor Eterno and some more fun music after that, Mariachi Jalisco Sin Si Señor.
Sí.
Tú eres la tristeza de mis ojos, que lloran en silencio por tu adiós. Me miro en el espejo y veo en mi rostro el tiempo que he sufrido por tu adiós. Obligo a que te olvide el pensamiento, pues siempre estoy pensando en el ayer. Prefiero estar dormido que despierto, de tanto que me duele que no estés. Pero como quisiera, ay, que tú vivieras, que tus ojitos jamás se hubieran cerrado nunca y estar mirándolos. Amor eterno e inolvidable corazón, tarde o temprano yo voy a estar contigo para seguir amándonos. Ay, amor. Yo he sufrido tanto por tu ausencia, desde ese día hasta hoy no soy feliz. Y aunque tengo muy tranquila mi conciencia, sé que pude haber yo hecho mucho más por ti. Oscura soledad estoy viviendo, la misma soledad de tu sepulcro, pues tú eres el amor del cual yo tengo el más dulce recuerdo de este mundo. Pero como quisiera, ay, que tú vivieras, que tus ojitos jamás se hubieran cerrado nunca y estar mirándolos aún. Mi amor eterno e inolvidable corazón, tarde o temprano yo voy a estar contigo para seguir amándonos. La 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 la. Amor eterno, amor eterno, amor eterno, amor eterno, amor. Gracias. Thank you.
So they'll be playing the rest of the night, but feel free to get some hot chocolate back there, get some pan dulce, go visit the AIDS Monument, say hello to friends you haven't seen for a while. Thank you and good night.